Hi, welcome to Boss Capital channel. I'm Michael Chu, along here with Sunil on the background. And this is a market recap video for September 20th, 2024. And this is a big week because we have the Fed announcement, which was a 0.5% cut on the interest rate, which is not full surprise, because the market future did indicate, a near 50% chance of that, and so so we got that. Yeah, but a lot of economists are happy about it, generally because they just want to make sure the Fed is not too far behind the curve, and in case the economy is slowing down really fast, right? So the market ends the week pretty strong. So overall, this is a weekly chart here. And we have the chart starting to look pretty good. We have this like kind of a double bottom here, and now we're starting to come back up here at around 18,000 for Nasdaq. So if we jump into the daily, so Monday was a down day. Tuesday, you can see both Wednesday as well. After the Fed meeting, it closed near the bottom, so that's very negative as well. But the Thursday, once people, have more time to digest the Fed news announcement, the next day they came in and bought it. Yeah, the only problem was the volume was lower on the Nasdaq, but it was higher on the S&P or NYSE. So we'll look at that, but so the Nasdaq, just didn't have enough volume. And then yesterday, Friday, was a quadruple witching day, with futures and option expiration, and so super high volume here. And yeah, usually those are the days with the highest volume. But the market did, fall for the day, but it did kind of rebound closer to near the top of the range, so that's a good sign. At least it wasn't just a down. Here's the intraday. You can see it tests the bottom here, and then it also rebound, which is a good sign. So I take this as a positive day. Of course, we want to break this high next week, instead of testing the bottom, because we have a gap up on Thursday, right? So, and then this is like Friday, we test that gap up right here. So that's a good sign. That's what I like to see. So based on this technical chart here, I think it looks like we have tested this gap up on Thursday, and we have a higher low here, and we should go higher here. And because we're not that far from this high, I expect it to break it easily, right? So again, here's the 10-day moving average, and then 21-day. The only problem is the 50-day is still going down. So we'll see, if that will start to curve as well. So it might take another week to see if that happens. Obviously, we'll have to have a good week for that to happen. So that's Nasdaq. Let's jump to S&P.
Michael.
Yes, go ahead.
You are not sharing screen. I hope.
So here's S&P chart, and S&P is looking a lot better. You can see we break to new high on Thursday. Actually, even Tuesday, Wednesday, we kind of near that level. But again, same thing. We have the reversal on Tuesday, Wednesday, and so this is what they call a negative breaker, expectation breaker, because after Wednesday's reversal on the Fed day meeting, it should go lower the next day, but it didn't, right? We gap up, and so from that perspective, meaning anyone who's short, they got punished, and then Thursday it just took off, and then Friday, really what we want to see is just a day that after such a day of gain on Thursday, we just want to see it hold that price level. And like I said, let's go to intraday again, and let's see. So here's the gap up from this to here, and so we did test the gap up, so it came back down, So again, we have a higher low here, pretty much same chart as Nasdaq. So ideally, we're not far again from the high here. So it should be easy to come out, right? But again, like, you know, just like you have a negative expectation breaker here, you could also have a positive expectation breaker. So right now we're expecting it to go up, but if it doesn't, then we have to be really cautious after that. Like, so because we expect this rally to continue now, and if it doesn't, because this is a 10-day and it's already tested near that low, if it's a strong rally, it shouldn't come back, you know. So, and when we look at stocks later, you will notice a lot of them are also setting up to even rally more, at least from the list I'm looking at. So that's also another good sign. So that's again same thing. I'm expecting them to keep rallying, and if they break it, that means, you know, something is not right. Okay, so that's that. But I do want to jump to RSP because that is equal weight RSP, and this one, you know, we keep making higher highs, and this one like also break out like Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday, you know, it kind of also gap up, make a new high, and then Friday you can see it also close at the top of the range. So very good sign. So here's the gap here, and this one came down more than the other two to test the gap, which is so pretty close to the lows here of the previous day. So that's also a good sign. You can see it tested twice actually, and then the third time it didn't come close. Now this one could have gone a little bit higher by the end of the day, but it didn't. So that's something to watch out for. We usually like to see a recovery of more than half, but this is more at the bottom half. So we'll see how that goes. So that's the equal weight RSP. But overall, the trend is still looking good, as you see from that 10-day. And also, you know, all the moving averages, 21 is going up, 50 is going up, 200 is going up, right? So, so you know, when there's a rally, this is what happened. You can see the 50-day going up, and then the 200-day right here, see, starting to go up. So that's what we want to see. Let's look at Dow. Very similar chart. Dow is also acting pretty well, also make new highs this week, like really early on in the week. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday fall through. Friday again close at the top. So that's all the indexes were able to do that, but at least these three indexes. Let's jump to IWM because that is having a little bit of problem. At least on Friday it closed at the bottom. You see, this is the difference here. Again, it wasn't able to come back up here, right, versus other indexes which actually came higher. And then here, like again, Friday closed. You know, it still look okay because, you know, the 10-day is right here. It's, you know, sometimes because IWM is small cap, so they are more volatile, right? Like, you know, like just like right here, it came down so fast, but it also go back up pretty fast. So it's definitely more volatile. So it's okay from that perspective. I'm surprised this volume is lower. I think it's lower. 335. Yeah, it's slightly lower. Let me go back to RSP for a second. This one is also lower on Friday. Go to S&P. So here you go. So Thursday, as we saw on Nasdaq, it didn't have a higher volume on Thursday, but so S&P did. So in essence, that is like a fall through day. So yeah, 1.7% gain that day, and so that's really good, right? So it looks like S&P 500 stocks in general are doing pretty good. Yeah. So yeah, but IWM or Russell is a little bit weaker than we like to see, but again, it's normal. It's just a little bit more volatile. Here's the Russell, and you know, it has a strong run, right? I think it gained the most, you know, if you compare to other index, the last, you know, 6-7 sessions. So that, you know, it definitely come down. Again, they still look okay. And interest rates coming down. it's supposed to benefit the smaller caps the most. So we'll see if that happens. And really, if we break this 2300, I think more money is going to start to pile in. This is a long time coming trend here. Here's the trend here, and here's the next trend here. So 2300 is another big number. And then after that, I think it's really 2350 is the next level here. And then after that, there's only one more node after that. So yeah, and Russell could run fast if it wants to go. So we're gonna watch for that. Let's look at FFTY, IBD 50 growth. So this is the weekly chart. So the growth stock has not been performing as well, but it's starting to move now, right? It's starting to move now. So here it did break out this kind of double bottom. But it has been underperforming for sure. So again, this is like Russell kind of thing, but it is moving now. So you can see right here, it is moving pretty fast, right? This is a slope. So we'll see if that continues. And the volume has dried up. You can see down here on the selling side. But the buying volume is still not too high. So we'll see, like compared to previous. So yeah. Let me just jump to mid cap quickly, because S&P 400 ETF here. So this one is kind of like between S&P 500 and Russell chart, right? It hasn't quite break out yet, and it's just sitting near it. And Friday it just pulled back a little bit, so we'll see. Another note I would say is like we could have another day of pullback just based on this chart. Like it's not, it could bounce on the 10 days. What I'm trying to say. But if it does come down to the 10 day, we want to see it actually bounce off it after a downside reversal. That's what we want to see, right? It comes back up. So yeah, let's quickly look at the accumulation distribution. S&P 500. Here's the index up here. We are at new highs, near new highs right now. The advanced decline line is definitely moving up, and obviously there's 2-to-1 ratio on Friday, more down than up. But overall, the trend is up, so that's a good sign. Again, very strong advanced decline line. You can see like it's probably the strongest right now in a while, even stronger than this one here in terms of the slope. And then here we have Nasdaq, and we are just trying to come to the middle ground here of this double bottom, and the advanced decline line look very similar. So this one, used to be like this is the big downtrend going down, and now at least it has flattened quite a bit. So it's still not super bullish, but it has at least it's a little bit more stable. So techs in general, like most Nasdaq stocks a lot of them are in tech category, and at least some of them have stabilized, and we'll see some of them actually improve. But yeah, 2-to-1 ratio as well, down on Friday. So yeah. So beside the Fed news, we did have economic data. Soft landing scenario. This is from the IBD newspaper. Retail sales unexpectedly edge up, so it's actually a good sign. So that was on Tuesday. So it's up, and then the housing starts also jump. So you can see here it jumped back up a little bit, 1.3 million. Philly Fed manufacturing index turned positive, so this one also did well. So yeah, like all three of this like kind of imply the economy is still doing good, like not too bad, right? So that's a good sign too. So I think this market rally could continue, presuming the soft landing scenario, obviously. So unless there's something that could hurt this economy, which means, for example, earnings season will be coming. It's already started for some of them, but in general it starts in October. But we're gonna we can go to it right now. For example, like FedEx reported this week, and they didn't report well, and they missed, right? And look at this, they got hurt pretty bad here. 15% down, and FedEx is the transport, and if we look at Dow Jones Transport, this is not Dow Jones. This is Trump. Can't remember the symbol. I'll have to find it later. So here's the Dow Jones Transport. I actually found it. Yeah, so it's been more volatile lately, and we had this strong run up to, before the Fed earnings and after the Fed, and then we had this bad news, right? So this is what we're going to be worried about in the coming months, I think. Besides the election, like, I don't know how much the election will impact the market, but obviously if there's some policies that come out that could impact certain sectors or areas, that will be impacted. But right now, in terms of individual stocks, like yeah, they could have huge impact on that area as well. So so Dow, FedEx didn't do well. I didn't really pay attention to the news, but it just didn't do well. And then the other one that came out was Lennar, in the home builders area, also didn't do well. So it dropped 5%, but we'll see what happens after that, because the day after is usually the most important, whether it will keep dropping or not. So that's something to pay attention to. And if you look at the XHB, the spider sector for home builders, like I said, this chart pattern looks pretty good. Even Lennar looks good. They all broke out, but then now it's pulling back. Like, we'll see how severe this pullback is, or is this just a one-day thing. So in terms of next week, we have consumer confidence reading on Tuesday, new home sales on Wednesday, and second quarter GDP data on Thursday. Yeah, so that might be also important. So let's take a look at Atlanta Fed estimate GDP now for the quarter. 2.9% currently. So yeah, looking really good. So yeah, so if they report in second quarter, that's probably, like, I don't know, definitely not the first number. It must be the first or second revision, something like that. But anyhow, looking at the current number, it's pretty good, 2.9%. So the other big news that happened this week was a couple of announcements. One was like Microsoft and BlackRock announcing a $100 billion AI infrastructure fund. So that's pretty big. And so and then on Friday, Microsoft also announced another deal with CEG. I'm not sure if they're a related deal, but they to have more supply for power plant energy for the Microsoft. I believe it's a 20-year agreement, something like that. So it's quite significant investment in terms of that deal. And so a lot of power related stuff went up pretty big. Obviously, CEG being the big one. So let's just jump to it right now. Constellation Energy, and this is a nice, I mean, it broke the trend line already earlier this week, but even here, if you buy it here, it's not too late. It break out right here, at this buy point. Unfortunately, I didn't get into this. I was just too late on this news, and it already went up quite a bit, so I didn't want to chase it. But it's probably, but it is a little bit, above the 10-day right here, moving average, the green line. So this is the slope right now. It's pretty strong. We'll see if it, holds up here and then take off again. Another one, VST, that's on my list. This one also broke out earlier the week on this trend line, and then we hit this traditional high buy point here. And this one has a pretty good run before, So it's definitely has some good history. And yeah, so right now, this is the 10-day moving average. So a little bit, I mean, usually when they're still in the base, I'm not too concerned about being extended. Like, like where CG it broke out quite extended, it might pull back. I mean, this could still pull back too. You just don't know. There's no like, definite answer whether they'll pull back or not. But at least it's still inside the base. A little bit less risk that it'll pull back. Like it could pull back. It's just maybe not as much. So yeah, watch for this one as well. There's lots of them did really well. I don't trade this one, Talent Energy. But it's been mentioned quite a few times now on IBD. This one does really well right now, and you can see it it's not even in the base, right? It just keep making new highs. So so now this channel line looking pretty good. This is looking really good. So that's another one. Next, we're gonna talk about tech stocks, and first we're gonna talk about the semiconductor chip area. I don't like this chart right now, mainly because the 50-day is going down, but more importantly, the price is actually finding resistance here along this 50-day. So I'm cautious, right? And even though we found support at the 200-day twice now, so we're doing a pendant. This is called a pendant formation, meaning it's like both converging towards the same point on the highs and the lows, and it just doesn't know which way to go yet. So at some point it's going to break one way or the other. It's going to either go that way or it's either going to go that way. So like I said, I don't like this pattern. Keep that in mind as we go through each stock. So let's go with Nvidia first, and this is having the same problem. You can see it just doesn't want to come above the 50-day. It keep coming back to the 50-day. Here's the convergence here. It's slightly better because it's not at the bottom of the pendant. It's near the top. But again, we need to break out from this area here, like this zone right there. So I do have a small position on it, like but let's see if it is gonna work or not. But just keep in mind it could fail, and I don't know what that means. If this fail, I don't know what it means for the general market. Generally, we have seen in the last few months, the market doesn't go up too high when the chip sector goes down. So keep that in mind. So even if S&P diverged from this sector or even the Nasdaq, generally it's not a good thing, because it just means that S&P will have, it won't go up as much as well, even if it stay positive. So that's Nvidia. There's some big news on rumors on Qualcomm. I don't even know how true that is. They want to buy Intel. So here's Qualcomm. Obviously the chart doesn't look good. It's nearby. Like this is almost like an L-shaped pattern. That's what I call it. Because it just comes down and then stuck in a really low range. And you can see it just couldn't go. Like even on Thursday, look at that. It came back down and it even broke all these tight areas and it went even lower. So that's a bad sign. Then we have Intel. Again, Intel hasn't performed well for a while now. Look at this chart pattern. Despite this, this last week it did perform well, but overall, when you look at the pattern, it still look more like L shape, right? And I don't like how fried. I mean, it's still in the middle of the range. So obviously the news came out, it jumped, but look at how fast it came back down. So again, it came pretty much went back to the middle range of this. So I don't like how that was trading. But again, overall, it's still to me it's still an L-shaped pattern. And then the 50-day line is coming in, so a lot of time they'll find resistance at the 50-day as well. So we need to power through that 50-day. But anyhow, Intel is not really a strong growth stock anymore. You see, it's negative here. So that's the big news there. But let's look at AMD. This one actually performed pretty well this week. Look at again, it's trying to come back up. It was underperforming for a while, and then now it's actually looking pretty good. The RS rating is starting to come up, and we have broken through the 50-day. So this is like much better than Nvidia and like other stocks, right? I think Lisa Su was on Kramer talking about how there's lots of demand. That was the reason it went up on Thursday. Besides the market did well too, but it outperformed a lot of stocks, all the chip stocks on that day. Then we have ARM. This one also came above the 50-day, but look at it. It's just no power, right? Look at this reversal. Even on Thursday, that's not a good sign because everything was up, and yet this one reversed pretty bad. And then Friday, you can see it's coming back to the lows of that range here. So again, this 50-day is going down, and this is why 50-day line is very critical. A lot of big institutions trade around that line, and the algorithm will fire if it go above or go down. So so it has to go back above 50-day or stay above it to get some momentum. So overall, I don't like how the chip did this week. Yeah, it's just much weaker than I anticipated. Like, I was expecting a much bigger rebound. Let's look at the software side, IGV. This one look much nicer. We have a cup, handle pattern. It pulled back slightly after it broke out. But then we have that gap out on Thursday and Friday. Look at that. We test the lows and we were able to close at the top. So here's the gap up right here. And I mean, we didn't test all the way down to the low, previous high here, but that's also a good sign because that means it just didn't want to come down. And then look at it, didn't even give back much during intraday here, and it was able to close at the top of the range. This is very powerful. And there's lots of stocks in this area, so obviously the mega caps. Let's start with that. So for example, we have Microsoft. Yeah, overall, Microsoft did okay for the week, but it did close at the bottom of the range on Friday. But the trend line is still intact. It has come back up, so it's looking, starting to look more healthy on the right side of this cup. So it still have some more work to do, obviously, before it breaks out. But yeah, like if you're aggressive buyer, the entry point would be near this level here where it broke up with the 50-day, or you can wait for a handle to form. But again, we don't know whether a handle of 4 or 5 days will form or not. Usually, maybe when it comes closer to this previous high, it will form a handle here that looks like this and then breaks out again. So we'll see if that happens, but it is doing well right now. Looks at Meta. So Meta is definitely the strongest out of this group. You can see it already broke out right here. I have taken some positions here on the green marks. This is a nice breakout, nice tight base. Yeah, so it's starting to look like it wants to accelerate now, and you can see the 10-day green line is starting to curve up. So this is the slope right now, so it's looking pretty good. Amazon also doing pretty good. Look very similar to Microsoft, just building the right side of the base, and the slope also looks pretty healthy here. And Friday actually nice reversal. Look at that. Look at the intraday chart. Look at this reversal. So it tested the gap up right here, tested that, and then look at how strong it closed. Really strong. So Amazon is doing well too. Google is probably the worst of this group. Let's see, it's starting to recover as well. So 50-day line is coming down. Let's see how it acts, whether it's resistance or whether it's going to plow through it. That will be very important. Then we have Apple. I think this weekend will be important for them. Like last week's numbers on their online sales weren't that good for the iPhone 16. So I think it did drop on that day, on the on the week, I think. And then so we'll see what the numbers look like. But it did have a downside reversal on Friday. So we'll see what the numbers come out this weekend for their sales, because their stores are actually selling it. And then we have Tesla slowly moving up. Thursday was a good day. That was a big day for them. Volume was there as well. And then Friday, it did close, near the halfway point, maybe slightly below it of the previous day's range. Volume still pretty high. So yeah, but overall it is starting to build the right side of the base. So yeah, but Friday's close was a little bit weak. You can see there. So it's more at the bottom of the range. Netflix trading very tight. It's a nice breakout on it's tried many times. You can see here. But I like this pattern a lot just because how tight this is. It reminds me of Meta. And then Thursday come out again, but then it fall back. So it's just having a hard time coming out, right? But it's not a bad thing. Like, sometimes it just take longer. So this one you need more patience, unfortunately. But sometimes when Netflix goes, it goes. So we'll see. So like right here, when it goes, it goes. But this stock generally move more on earnings than on regular times. So 26 days coming up. So yeah, thank you for watching this video. This is the market recap video. Please like and subscribe if you like any of this, and comment if you want on any things you want me to talk about next time. I'm gonna make another video for the top lists of my growth stock list, and yeah, watch out for that. It should be coming out right after this. Thank you.